Hi everybody. Happy Saturday. It's Saturday night and I've decided to have a night in, hence the no makeup and the dishevelled hair. I've been sitting on the couch. I had some great comments and questions from a fan of my page. I hope he's a fan. And he had a great comment. So thank you, Jared, for your comments and your questions. So for those who haven't seen the comment or the last video, Jared writes, now I had to write it down because I couldn't find a way to read it off my phone while I was doing this video. So he says, he wants me to discuss grief and closure and whether I want to hear from my ex. Do I ever want him to contact me? And do I want to ask my ex the questions that only he can answer? Or will it open up a can of worms and set you back from all the progress you have made? Do you think he still cares or loves you and has regrets? And would you want to know or let sleeping dogs lie? Jared continues to write, I can't help but think you're still madly in love with him and hate him at the same time, but the time apart has you longing for him again, or the answers only he has and can give you. Fabulous questions, fabulous content. I have to read them again, so I feel like this is going to be a bit of a long post. Grief and closure. Do I ever want him to, do I ever find the need to call him? I definitely, having broken up with him, God, so many things running through my head. It's good. I like this. So, you know how when you break up with someone or you don't talk to somebody, you have the opportunity to stalk them on your Facebook, and figure out and find out more about them. And I can honestly say, hand on heart, that I've wanted to call him or stalk him once out of the last, 15 months. Only once. Friends of mine have gone on his Facebook page while in my company, and I purely say to them, I don't want to see what you're seeing on your screen. So look at your phone, don't show me. That's how I found out he was engaged and she was pregnant. And I think for me, I don't want to see that because it will imprint on my mind. I guess what needs to be taken into consideration is the fact that, yes, I lived in Adelaide and, I was single for 4 years, decided to go on to Oasis, which is where we met. And that very night, I decided that I was going to close my account. And that night I thought, I'll just go on for half an hour before I close my account, and he popped up. Now this man, I believe, at the time when we met, this man loved me with every bit of his being. He worshipped the ground I walked on. He pleaded with me. We had a very quick time frame of when we started talking. We were talking to each other every day, texting, calling, and it became this real love story. And we didn't have, FaceTime wasn't around then. The only thing we did was Skype, and even then, the service and the connection and stuff wasn't great. So we basically developed our relationship over the phone. And 6 months went by, and we couldn't live apart anymore. We did long distance. He would fly to Adelaide, I would fly to Melbourne. And finally, I made the decision to leave my family, leave my friends, and move states to be with a man who I only knew for 5 months. I moved to Melbourne to be with him. I had no friends, no family. I knew no one but him, and developed this life and this relationship with this man who 18 months later proposed to me. And, he loved me. I truly believe he loved me with everything that he had. And I loved him. Of course I did. We definitely had our problems in our relationship. Intimacy being a huge problem on his behalf, not mine, which affected me, of course. I pride myself on being someone who's very loving and affectionate, and that certainly wasn't reciprocated, and that put a real strain on our relationship and made me resent him. And I'm not proud of myself and some of the arguments and some of the things that I said to him. And we got married despite all our differences, and we made a commitment to each other. And I took that commitment very seriously. And 2 years later, after there's so many stories I can tell, and look, if you guys want to hear the stories, no skin off my nose, I want to share them. But this man had made me feel so... I had no confidence left. I was drained. I was exhausted from being made to feel like I'm not important and not a priority in his life. I moved my entire life to be with this man. And on our second wedding anniversary, while we were at dinner, he broke up with me. On our second wedding anniversary. And said, I can't do this anymore. That's all I got. I got no explanations. I got no reasons. It's just too hard, and I can't do this anymore. The arguing was hard. And, grief can do funny things to people. And for myself, I still replay that day all the time. And the last time I saw him or spoke to him in person, he had nothing to say to me. After 2 years, after 5 years together, moving in together, he insisted to come and see me the day before I was driving back to Adelaide. And I said, what do you have to say for yourself? He's like, I don't know. He had nothing to say to me after 5 years together. Not even, I hope you get to Adelaide safe. Not even, I'm sorry it ended this way. I wish it was different. He had nothing to say to me. After making me pick up my life, of course I willingly, because I loved this man. So someone broke up with me for no reason, as far as I'm concerned. And he had nothing to say to me after 5 years. I came back to Adelaide and struggled with understanding why and questioning myself. So I spent 2 years, maybe 3, in my relationship questioning what was wrong with me and why my relationship wasn't the same as what it was when we first met. And it really killed my confidence. I blamed myself for a lot. refuse to cry anymore. I blamed myself a lot in that. Could I have done better? What could I have done to change myself? What could I have done in the relationship? And you know what? It's that thought process now doesn't help. It's not going to change my circumstances. I had to cut my feelings off for somebody who I loved and I married and I made promises to without even a question. I didn't have a choice. There was no choice of reconciliation. There was no choice of a separation. It was, that's it, we're over. You go back to Adelaide and I'm staying here in Melbourne. The way that I found out he had a girlfriend was I still had access to our joint bank account. And one Saturday night I was home and I haven't really spoken about this much, but I tend to get like not a message, but just an inkling or a feeling that night to check my bank account. And sure enough, there was a girl's name on the bank account. Now, I had been in Adelaide and we were still going through divorce lawyers and mediation and trying to sort out our funds. And his answer to that was, well, you came to Melbourne with nothing. You leave Melbourne with nothing. This is the man that worshipped the ground I walked on. My parents invited him into their lives as their son. My parents haven't had a phone call. My parents haven't had, not even kiss my ass. It's like I never existed. So the grief for me has been what I feel amplified because I had to cut my feelings off and leave states and change my entire life. So not only did I lose all my friends in Melbourne, I had to quit my job, I had to relocate to Adelaide, I had to find a rental, find a new job, re-establish myself with my friendship groups, be back with family, buy furniture. I'm still paying off our wedding, which I took out a loan for. So for me, grief feels like it has been amplified because I didn't get a choice. I had to stop loving someone without a choice. And that's been really hard because I did love him. I should have left that relationship a year earlier. I wasn't happy, but I made a commitment to somebody and I agreed to try and stick it out. He had a plan all along. He had a plan I lost him 6 months prior. And I believe he met this girl. Again, speculation. I don't know where this girl came from. I don't know what happened. So one Saturday night, I got an inkling to check my bank account. And sure enough, there was a girl's name on the transaction list. She'd transferred $200 into our joint account. Now, I'm sorry, but what a dickhead. Knowing that I still had access to that account, he transferred money. Mind you, months before that, I saw transactions of about $600 in our bank account at Baby Bunting. Now, I knew that a family member of his was pregnant, so assumed that was a present or a gift. Quite an extravagant gift, mind you, but yeah. The day I left, he said to me, "Leave your bank card on the bench." Would you believe that his new missus was using my bank card illegally under my name? She was shopping at Baby Bunting while he was at work because the transactional history showed that. So I looked her up and sure enough, I didn't know who she was, so I hadn't blocked her. She was in a relationship with my ex. We had only been separated for... She was in a relationship with him. So I left... We broke up on the 6th of March. And on the 22nd of June, he was in a brand new relationship. Not only that, 2 months later, she fell pregnant. Planned, not the point. We weren't even separated for 12 months. We'd been separated for March. I left